Good morning and welcome to the April 26th meeting of the University of Utah Board of Trustees. Meeting, as always, is conducted openly and transparently pursuant to the Utah Open and Public Meetings Act. And so we welcome all you members of the public who are attending and observing this decision-making process. I'd like to acknowledge that we received a letter from a group of students concerning the support phasing out non-functional turf. Appreciate your respectful way of presenting this to the board, and we'll make sure that the university administration works with you to address your questions. So thank you for that. We'd like to excuse Kathy Garth from Wisconsin, who were not able to join us this morning, and by Zoom, I think we've got Steve Miller, I see Randy Shumway, and Christina Huntsman. They might be joining here in a moment, but we have a quorum, so we can go ahead and proceed. Meeting materials were posted last week, and I appreciate everyone on the board reviewing that agenda, the general consent agenda in preparation for this meeting. There are a few items I did want to highlight. The first is 2.08, the General Revenue and Refunding Series 2026A bonds. Thank you to the administration for meeting with the trustees to answer any questions they had on that, because I know we have a number of new trustees who need to be brought to speed. For the benefit of the public, I just want to briefly outline the background on this matter. In October of 22, this board authorized the university to move forward with the South Campus parking garage and to obtain the associated necessary bonds to fund that project. So a bond for up to $116.3 million received legislative authorization during that following 2023 session. Last year, we approved the location of that parking facility just west of the Huntsman Arena, what is currently lot 12, for those of you who keep track of them that way. Today, the university is simply seeking approval to issue the bond to build that parking. Throughout all that time, just so you know why it has taken so long, is that we have done significant work. The university has worked to ensure that the university is building the right kind of structure in the right place to meet the needs of our students, our faculty, our community. This included several transportation and parking studies, which overwhelmingly and unsurprisingly indicated the need for more parking. And so I commend the university for addressing that need. And it's doing so in a variety of ways, not only with this project, which will add about 1,500 parking stalls, and I always see out smile when I say that, but also providing free public transit passes to students and employees, as well as opening an additional 1,000 new surface lots in the newly acquired Ford later on this fall. So we're excited about all of those improvements. Upon our approval of the issuance of this bond, it will then go before the Utah Board of Higher Education for their final approval. And then we will move forward with construction, and the board's campus master plan committee will stay engaged as we work with design and construction. So this is really a thoughtful, strategic, and much needed project that we're excited about. But President, if you have anything to add?
Karen Marriott, over the last few days, I think raised an important point, and I might defer to Jeff Labram on this, but this lot will be going subsurface.
Correct.
And it will be part of a platform for the larger project, which we call College Town Magic. That College Town Magic has not been designed yet. We will be going through an RFP and a design process. So think of this as, and that will also go through the requisite set of approvals and come back to this board. So I appreciate you raising those issues. I just want to make sure everybody on the board was clear that this is just kind of the platform for what we've been calling College Town Magic.
It's a great way to think about it.
We appreciate the thoughtfulness in anticipating that coming, so that we have gone underground, and it's lovely that it's on an incline, so that will provide some cost savings in going completely underground and some different ingress and egress points that I think will help facilitate access and usage. So any other questions on that or thoughts? Okay. I'd also like to highlight item 2.10, which is a revision to policy 6-100, instruction and evaluation. It's a fundamental university regulation establishing basic frameworks and requirements for grading, course numbering, adding and dropping courses, and academic standards. So it's a great framework to ensure consistency and clear expectations for students and faculty alike. Randy, as chair of the board's academic committee, I know you've done some work on this and are familiar with it. Would you have more to say?
Well,
Yeah.
thanks for asking, Chair Eccles. Um, this policy reflects really a timely and thoughtful modernization of the university's foundational academic policies, and a lot of credit goes to Chase Haygood. I actually ran into Chase yesterday. We're both here at ASU GSV in San Diego, but this is 2 years of very deliberate hard work on his part. Richard Price leading the faculty senate, huge shout out to him, and the degree of engagement and collaboration that occurred with the faculty senate on this. What the policy is doing is it's clarifying expectations around grading and instruction. It's bringing greater transparency to registration and withdrawal rules. It's better aligning policies with our current academic practices. I also think the emphasis on consistency and fairness and student success and accountability, compliance are things that we've heard a lot of students advocating for, and the university has just responded really smartly. So, yeah, let me just shout out real appreciation for the great work and collaborative approach that's gone into what's been a very comprehensive and exhaustive process over the last 2 years. And I definitely encourage us to pass this.
Thank you. Thank you for your oversight on that, and Mitzi for your leadership as well. Appreciate it. We're doing good work trying to make things efficient, clear, and pave a road for success for all of our students. Any thoughts on that before we go on? Wonderful. Trustee Shumway, we also, there are a number of new degrees and certificates, and again, as chair of the academic committee, having looked at those, do you have any thoughts?
Well, this feels like the Randy monologue. I apologize for that. We've got 5 new programs, real high demand. You're seeing smart innovation with the new criminology master's degree, on of the theater BFA. We've seen a lot of the College of Fine Arts really leading out this last year on proposing to discontinue some things, add some things, change some things, really aligning with demands that they're hearing from the workforce, from the students, from graduate schools, and then you've got the creation of the graduate certificate in STEM leadership and management, the new AI bachelor's of science in the business school, and a fintech master's degree, as well as a graduate certificate out of fintech. And then every student should applaud this, but the creation of a new graduate certificate in student financial aid administration, really understanding FAFSA and the changes that have occurred in federal financial aid to help students capitalize on assistance that's available to them. So these are, again, I can't say enough about the leadership of Provost Montoya, our faculty, our deans, in really smartly recalibrating, optimizing our programs, and introducing new programs that really meet strong workforce and student demand. I'm excited about these.
Thanks, Shelley. Thanks to your committee for reviewing all of these for us as well. I appreciate all of the work we're doing, as Randy's pointing out, to modernize, to optimize, to restructure ourselves to really lead out into the future. And so I can't let item 9 go unnoticed as a critical piece of this. The recommendation to retire policy 5-118, which is so clearly titled as the procedure for recoding affiliations of personnel not paid by the university Apparently this was vital in 1983, when it was established over 40 years ago. And it's basically the process to maintain a hard copy telephone directly. Often at the white pages, which Alex looks at me with a blank look. He has no idea. But we are not leaving any stone unturned in our work to be more efficient and have clear policies. And this policy is aged gracefully, but decisively into retirement. So I wanted to make sure that we're all comfortable with that.
Could I ask a question? Just back to what Randy was talking about, and really probably towards the provost and being a new board member and not. I mean, I'm looking at some of the other courses, but the theater and the criminology, you're utilizing kind of existing courses or combining in their staff. But when you're adding 6 new classes to the financial tech, and you're adding a couple adjunct professors, how does that work with faculty? Like, is that an extra load they're creating in courses? Do you have enough? The tenured teachers professors have enough room to accommodate for that? Because it sounds like there's no. Where does that come from?
That's a great question. And so part of where on the FinTech, it's a really good example of some adjuncts will be added to help cover additional coursework. But some of those courses that are in the new FinTech degree will also be in the finance degree, right? So we do, oftentimes we'll have courses in multiple degrees so they can double count, if you will, in different programs. So you do get efficiencies there. And the nice thing with the business school and a lot of our programs, we have a separate accreditation process that requires that we maintain very specific ratios of faculty to students taught. So we're very careful to never cross those ratios and make sure we maintain our ACSB accreditation. So a lot of it just has to do with how the different courses count. So there's
with new creation, does it say there's 6 new courses?
Yes, but so what's likely also happening is other courses are rolling off and won't be offered, right? So
Okay.
that's part of a cleanup that happens.
Just trying to understand.
Yeah, so in some cases, some are rolling off. In some cases, we might start with adjuncts, get a new degree started, and then we'll add more faculty as we see the growth of that.
Generally speaking, though, we do go through a financial analysis of degrees. And as we were speaking with some of our trustees, certificates are interesting because they often don't add any new classes, right? And so you just share courses and faculty with those students that want to have the
Or
certificate.
certificate, it's kind of a smaller wrapper. This one's a degree. And so,
You gotta have a financial justification.
That's right. Yeah, and we look at that every year on making sure that we have the right number of faculty students and that we're cleaning up courses that are no longer being offered or converting them to something else. Yeah, exactly.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Any other thoughts on the consent agenda? Okay, there's a motion to approve the item. Is there a motion to approve the items in the general consent agenda?
So moved.
I think Jamie got to it first. So Jamie, thank you for the first. A second. Thank you, Randy Shenwood. We have a motion and a second. Any debate or discussion? If not, I'll ask for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
All right.
Any opposed? Thank you for your support of the items on the general consent agenda. I would now like to welcome Heidi Woodbury, Vice President for Institutional Advancement, to present item 3.0, but it looks like it will be fun.
Hi, in the role of Heidi Woodbury, I sense her regrets today, but I just have one item for approval. In recognition of a $650,000 gift from Martha and Kent DeFiore, we seek formal approval to name the Kent and Martha DeFiore Cinema in the Film and Media Arts.
Thank you so much. Is there a motion to approve the naming of cinema in the Film and Media Arts Building in honor of Kent and Martha DeFiore? All right, thank you. We have a first. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Alex, thank you for the second. We have a motion and a second. Any debate or discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Thanks so much. We'd now like to invite Anshuman Razdan, the Chief Research Officer, Planning and Partnerships, and Michael Free, Professor and Associate Chair, Department of Material Science and Engineering from the John and Marcia Price College of Engineering and College of Mines and Earth Science. Present item 3.02. Phew.
Madam Chair, trustees, President Randall, CDPs, Montoya, Carter, and other leaders and members of our audience, we are really thankful and pleased to present the case for the Institute for Critical and Strategic Minerals this morning to you. I've been here short 5 months, and it has been a great privilege to work with many research leaders on the campus, especially in the area of critical minerals here. And so we're not just forming an institute, we're really responding to the needs of the country, national security, and calls from the state to support the mining industry. As you know, out of the 58 critical minerals recognized by the federal administration, Utah has the ability to mine and harvest over 3/4 of them in the state. So it's really an exciting thing. We're also building on the foundation of over 100 years of College of Mines at the University of Utah, and superb, excellent faculty, researchers, and research funding that those faculty have brought to the institution. So early in January, support from AVP Montoya, who asked us to bring together a lot of disparate interests within the campus to think about forming an institute so that we can project a lot of strength within Utah, but also nationally in the area of critical minerals. So hence, the idea was born. In the meantime, with President's leadership, our government relations, Senate Bill 254 has been passed to support the Mine Center and form a critical minerals council where University of Utah and President Randall and his delegate will have a critical role to play to convene the council. And we just got word that we'll be awarded a $4.5 billion testbed center from a federal agency in the national lab. President Randall is also leading a delegation to National Lab of the Rockies in early May to sign the new MOU with them that will also further enhance the collaboration and research. So all this to say that we're really excited. It is very timely. And I'm going to ask my colleague, Professor Free, to present some slides for you. But I thought I'd take the opportunity to introduce him and also embarrass him a little bit because he's so humble and modest accomplishments. Mike is truly the son of soil. He was born and raised in Utah. Did his metallurgical and material science degrees from the University of Utah. They have been a faculty for 29 years. Just under his leadership, there has been over 16 million in research funding from the Department of Energy, and that just underscores the foundation this institution will be built on. And I'm happy and proud to say that he'll be the founding director of the institute, as you will bless and approve that today. So with that,
Okay. All right, thanks. Well, it's been great to work with Anshuman. He goes by AR. It's great to work with the administration too. This has been an area that we've had a lot of support from the administration because it's an area that cuts over a lot of different fields. And so it's important to have it led out by the university as a whole. So I think that it's useful to think about a couple of things here in the context of what we're trying to do. So, you know, when you pick up your cell phones and you turn on your laptops, okay. So, you know, when you pick up your cell phone or your computer, there's a lot of these critical elements that are in your computers, in your cell phones, and in all kinds of equipment that we use. But today we've got some problems. There's about 80% of some of these critical elements are coming from places like China. And there's been disruptions in supply chains and some threats and things of future disruptions. And so the states and the whole country needs to be behind doing more of this domestically. So that's kind of a lot of the origin for this institute. And also there's just a lot of opportunities. that are out there. The federal government is very interested in this area and have been providing a lot of funding. We've been a part of this. And the Institute provides an opportunity for us as a university to have greater visibility on a national stage. And even here, as a university, it allows us to bring people together that have been working in a lot of different fields, but are doing things that are related to critical minerals. And we can bring that together to provide a bigger effort and give us more visibility there. We've mentioned, AR mentioned this bill that was passed by the state of Utah to fund $10 million in this critical minerals area. And we're playing a leadership role in that. And I think it's important to point out too, that we are working on a larger scale on the national front with some of these agencies and with particularly national labs and other groups and other universities around the country. And I think that really when we look at this institute, what is its purpose? And I think it's important to think about this holistic view of the supply chain of these critical minerals. We need to keep that supply going. We need it here domestically. And so bringing the university together here with different disciplines is very important because we can take it across the entire value chain. We can look at the geological side, the mining side, the metallurgical processing side, and then we can look at the downstream manufacturing of the products, as well as how some of this interacts with our society and looking at things like permitting and law and policy that relates to some of these things, as well as, the broader impacts and political ramifications from these things. And then there's also the business side. There's other societal kinds of things that we're going to look at. We have a lot of people involved in this to make this happen. And the governance approach to this is to have really some of the upper administration and some of the deans involved in helping to lead this because it is such a broad effort and we didn't want it to be housed in just one unit. And so there's going to be a technical advisory committee, a board, and an external advisory board that will provide input. We're going to get input from faculty. We're going to get input from agencies, other kinds of stakeholders to make this a holistic and a broad endeavor. And the governing board will oversee that. The governing board here that's proposed is to have a director, an associate director, membership from the vice president's office, our chief research officer here, our vice provost, Peter Trappa, the dean of the Price College of Engineering, Charles Musgrave, the dean of College of Science, Brooke Sanding, and then one of the deans of either law, business, or social behavioral science that will rotate in through this governing boards. And then the technical advisory board, we have some experts on campus that have been involved in critical minerals related work. Lauren Bergenheyer, Ed Richards, Rajiv Ganguly, Sumitra Mohanty, Ling Zhang, Jamie Floon, Travis Benny. And then we'll also have this external advisory board that will pick people from key stakeholder communities to make sure that we're well represented there. And the proposed structure here is essentially just that we'll all work together in these different areas to cover a broad area across campus and really kind of look at both the STEM areas and the non-STEM areas and give good representation for both. In terms of the performance, we're going to look at things like the number of awards and the students that are involved. This will be a really good opportunity for students to become involved in this with research. I have a number of undergraduate students and graduate students that work in my group that are involved in this, and this will expand to other groups around the campus in a bigger way. We'll look at things like presentations and research awards and other things, but really the ultimate impact that we want to make is to help everybody across the state and help the mining industry and some of these manufacturers to help us bring a lot of this stuff on shore. So with that, I'll end, and any comments you want to make?
Just one wanted to add, and not saying that we have overwhelming support from the deans whose faculty are involved in this, not just from science and engineering, but from law, business, social and behavioral sciences. We're happy to answer any questions. Thank you for your time.
Can I make just one comment? I want to just compliment the faculty in this case, also our state leaders. I think what you're seeing at the state level is an extraordinary collaboration in setting policy for the state. Much has been said in the last few weeks about Operation Gigawatt and energy, but there's a similar conversation going on around the supply chain and critical minerals. And what has been remarkable with our faculty leadership is they've been able to actually interact really closely with state leadership to provide the technical expertise in this case to the state in trying to build the capacities and industrial capacities of the state. This is what a research university is supposed to do. It's a remarkable example. So I just want to compliment the faculty and the research leadership for their interactions with state leaders.
The funding is kind of amazing. But I do think your potential for those advisors or potential future funders as well for that 1.5 million that it's going to cost the university. I mean, get Rio Tinto, one of your
Yeah.
advisors. Anyhow, so I think there's a lot of potential there in so many levels, but sounds like to have all that kind of funding is exciting.
We hope that will be also a factor for philanthropy.
Yeah, I do think this is an amazing step onto not only our state, but a national stage, the national platform. The federal funding is something that is so critical, pressing for that we can really be a thought leader as well as building the economy around it and the infrastructure around it, but being a thought leader for policy and social. Just the total interdisciplinary play of this at such an important pivotal time in our history here. So I appreciate your forward thinking and doing it. It's very well thought out, and you've covered everything. And the investment by the university is pretty minimal is what I think it can bring in. So thank you for all of your work. Again, great work being done by our faculty and our deans and our academic side. So thank you for that. With that, I'm going to ask if there's a motion to approve the creation of the Institute for Critical and Strategic Minerals as presented today.
So moved.
Thank you, Kurt. Is there a second?
Second?
Thank you, Jamie. We have a motion and a second for approval. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
We'll be excited to see and hear how this develops.
We'll be reporting back. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll now turn to item 3.03 of our new Center of Civic Discourse and Debate. I invite Michael Middleton, Senior Associate Dean for the Colleges and Schools of Liberal Arts and Sciences, present.
Hi, thank you. Pleasure to be here. Appreciate the time. The proposed Center for Civic Discourse and Debate, which comes to you with broad campus support, aims to address a problem that's broadly recognized. We're living through a crisis of civic disconnection. 1 in 5 Americans at best report that they have a personal relationship because of political division. Across campuses nationwide, at least 52%, in some surveys as many as 80% of students report censoring themselves in the classroom and on campus. This isn't just a problem of different opinions, though. The center proposes that this is a problem of a skills deficit. And so we're aiming to address that through the center by focusing on creating structured civic discourse programming that will allow students to work on the nervousness they experience around differences in opinions and to perceive more agreement with politically different peers and engage in less demonizing of the other side. The proposed center aims to offer this programming through a combination of efforts that teach students civic discourse skills, model those skills through programming sponsored by the center, and create opportunities for campus and communication participation to practice those skills. To accomplish this, the center will support faculty and student-led research on argumentation, conflict resolution, and civic dialogue, building on the existing VPR working group on civic discourse. It will aim to support the community by providing training in mediation and conflict resolution. It will engage the campus and the community in public events and public programming like the Refugee Debate League, currently ran in operation with the Utah Department of Workforce Services, and also extend on our efforts to support curriculum and learning opportunities through programs like Debate Across the Curriculum. To offer that as a more detailed example, in the fall, we piloted debate across the curriculum in about 25 classrooms, impacting about 1,000 students. We did a pre and post test with those students and compared them to students who had not participated in the program. Among what they reported was 12% greater perceptions of common ground with those that they have differing opinions from, 14% less stress discussing controversial issues in a professional setting, 14% more comfort engaging across differences, and 12% greater comfort expressing their honest perspectives here at the University of Utah. We think those are all gains that work in the direction of addressing the problem I described at the top. As we're working to establish the governance body for this, we're reaching out to faculty around campus and with campus partners who are engaged in this work. So we've already reached out to folks in the College of Law, like Nicholas Parra Herrera, to Samantha Ball with the Dignity Index, Samantha Borberg in the Department of Psychology, and to Dean Anisha Pasaputhi in the Honors College and her work on generous listening. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions and hope that you choose to support this.
Yeah, this is, as I recall, make sure I'm speaking correctly, but this is also part of the reallocation that we did through the state legislature. I think we go back 250 years, the founding of this country, and at its foundation was an educated citizenry that actually knew how to debate rigorously and felt comfortable doing that debate. It's interesting that 250 years later, we're back making sure that our institutions are doing the same thing. I'm really proud of the work that Mike and his colleagues have done. It's changing this campus. It's changing the perception of what we are as a campus. It allows people to speak their minds and do it in a dignified way, which is what we think this institution is supposed to do.
I just had a thought too. I mean, you'll really have to monitor to keep it bipartisan. I think that can be part of the challenge. I mean, like any debate, there's rules of engagement, and those will have to.
How do you do that, Mike?
Yeah, how do you do that? I mean, you can set them, but how do you enforce them? How do you keep it from?
I mean, I think that the first part of that is to keep the focus on process, right? To focus on creating structures that people can bring whatever ideas they have to and have a conversation that honors the opportunity for those to be heard. So in the classroom, we've done that through kind of a set of rules that we use facilitators to maintain in the classroom. We'll be shifting to training faculty to do that. I think when it's a public forum, it's equally right working with both sides to make sure that they understand those rules, right, and feel like those rules empower them for what they bring to the conversation to be heard. So I think that by focusing on process, right, and sort of that highly neutral dimension of the conversation, that allows us to maintain neutrality and let those voices kind of come into the conversation.
Facilitator roles.
Yeah.
Critical.
Yeah.
I am so excited about this. If you were to ask employers, a society in general, what they most want from a university, if they knew the term, they'd probably summarize it as system level thinking. And that's what debate, civic discourse helps facilitate, bringing multidisciplinary understanding to a discussion and trying to look at every problem from multiple dimensions. I'm going back to my middle school debate years where I was forced to argue. I was forced to argue things that were contrary to what I thought. And suddenly on the other side, I had a much greater appreciation for a different perspective. This has got to be one of the most important things our university could do. I love that you're leading out on this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, sure. Yeah, I just also wanted to express like my support as well as a student. This year we've had a lot of problems with this type of issue. Trying to help different groups see each other, understand each other, and just talk through things. So, and it's gotten to the point where I think it's really affected students' experience here at the University of Utah. So I think this is just an incredible initiative that'll help a lot of students.
I echo everything that my colleagues have said, and I appreciate this structured core of developing skills in a formal way and presenting opportunities to do that. Is this something that you also conceive of, that this is the kind of heart of that work, but that it can have a cultural change even for those who are not participating in that directly, that our faculty will be engaged in training and acceptance, modeling this kind of behavior in the classroom. Students also modeling, and being expected to kind of be respectful as a culture of the university. I think we already have that in large degree, but obviously now we've got this structured floor, but how can that play out across campus?
I mean, the thing that we say a lot when we're thinking about the planning is that students need to encounter it, regularly and in multiple contexts. And so I think one of those is classrooms. We've been talking with AVP McDonald about working to get it into the sort of student life dimensions of experience. So I think it's, learn in the classroom, practice with your peers on campus, take that into your internship, right? Be more comfortable talking with people in professional context about hard topics. And I think that's how you begin to build a culture, right? It's to sort of create the opportunities for those skills to be brought forward in those different spaces.
I appreciate that. I think that's the kind of atmosphere we want to have here. That's the purpose of universities as a whole, is to have those conversations and to learn about things you didn't know before,
Yeah.
and maybe you didn't like. And so I appreciate that and hope that we can kind of, and I do that at the student level, but I hope even at the faculty and, staff level, that we're also kind of modeling and expecting those kind of conversations. And
One of our most common comments in classrooms with students is they'll say at the end of one of these debates, I had to take the time to listen to the other side before I responded, and it made me think different. Huh, how about that, right? Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for that work. Anything else? We'll appreciate this. I think this again is another example of responding to current pressing demands, needs, and important. I mean, this goes to the core in essence what a university is and should be. So thank you for developing this so thoughtfully. And we'll now turn to see if we can get a motion for the creation of the Center for Civic Discourse and Debate as presented today.
Heck yes.
I think it's a good student. Motion Subway, second by Trustee Roach. Thank you so much.
No. Give Alex the first. Give Alex the first. I'll second it.
Alex, you made the motion. Thank you so much. And Randy, thank you for making the second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the motion passes. Thank you again. Just so many wonderful things going on campus. We now turn to 3.04, the new center of the Olympics Center for Societal Impact, and John Lynn, the scientific director of the Wilkes Center for Climate Science and Policy, to present. Thank you so much.
Really excited to be here. As I was sort of wandering the halls of this beautiful building, I saw these black and white photos, and there's one of Rice Eccles Stadium in the 90s being built. So what we're doing here is building on the legacy, but also looking. I think really we have an opportunity here to seize the moment and have real dividends for them. So what we're hoping here is to have a research hub. We have several kind of pillars focusing on societal, environmental, but also economic impacts of hosting the Olympics. And what we also hope to do is engage pretty broadly with students, because it's still 8 years off, right? So through those 8 years, we have opportunities to engage students in classes, meetings, and research, both at undergrad and graduate. So I don't think I'll read off through these themes we thought about, but it's pretty broad. Happy to answer questions. As I said, there's still time. So what we hope to do is sort of expand the center as time works. Really just trying to stand up this center. And I know there's plenty of so we're hearing from people already who want to be engaged. So this is just a start. But just as a start, the entities engaged right now, helping establish center, the Center for Climate Science Policy that I'm representing, but also the Gardner Poss Institute. Natalie Goffner has been an ally helping to make this happen. Colleges of Liberal Arts and Sciences, Vice Provost Peter Trappa, been very supportive. Marriott Library has a wonderful collection of Olympic sort of photos and photo documents on the Olympics. But also Tanner Humanities, who thinking about, Scott Black is thinking about Olympics and humanities and gaming. So it's lots of opportunities to engage with communities as well. So in terms of leadership, we're thinking about engaging a variety of folks, including Scott Doman from the President's Office, who is coordinating all sorts of Olympics activities. Natalie Goffner, of course, myself, Fielding Norton, Managing Director of the Wilkes Center, and Peter Stratton. In addition, we have people who actually make things happen. There's Jenny Robinson from the Gardner Institute and Cassie Slattery, Cassie Ray, so Cassie from LAS, who two wonderful people who make things happen. Okay, so we've also been talking a lot with external partners, sort of monthly meetings now with the organizing committee, Olympic Legacy Foundation, Colin Hilton's sort of really amazing work in keeping the venues lively and engaged community. IOC, which I'll talk more in a minute, but also one of the first US-based Olympic research centers at the University of Oregon, which is based in the business school. And due to their involvement with track and field, there's a real emphasis on Summer Olympics there. So very much complementary to our strength in winter. There's also two others, ASU and the US Sports University. Yeah. So we're one of the select few. I'll just say the other two are just in this thinking. I think they haven't, don't quote me on this, but I think they haven't passed through all their internal checks and balances. So they have gotten the IoT approval, but they haven't. So in many ways, we're starting out together. But the hope is that if we pass today, we will go now to the IOC. And the IOC, we've had initial conversation last Christmas, and things look really good. IOC is very supportive of us. The fact that we are both a venue, but also in the host city of the Olympics, really, it's kind of a no-brainer for them. Very supportive. So I don't see any barriers. And if we get approved by IOC, we will be part of a select group, about 80 in 28 countries. So we'll put Utah on the map, and I think there's a lot of opportunities. So I think that's all, and I can answer questions. Thank you.
No, I have one.
I do have a question. This is Christina Huntsman. I'm just wondering why Huntsman Mental Health Institute is not one of the affiliated units that we're dealing with, because we are studying research in Olympic athletes, and why is that not part of this?
Oh, thank you for asking. Yeah, so I think now you're on our map. And we'll part of that. One thing I haven't mentioned is the internal advisory board, which is in addition to this kind of leadership group. So we hope to have, just like the Wilkes Center, we hope to have periodic internal meetings with the dean, leaders of various institutes. So thanks for letting me know.
Yeah, I mean, we'll be opening the Translational Research Building this next year, and we have a whole hub around research and Olympic athletes. So I just want to make sure that that's part of the affiliated units when you're listing other entities on campus that you'll be partnering with.
Okay, yeah, so that's definitely one of them. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
I had not heard of these before, and it sounds like, I was wondering if it was like a pilot program and just ran up to the Olympics, but it sounds like they continue through Olympics if there's 80 of them, I guess.
That's right, that's right.
And are any of them recognized by the IOC, or are all, how many of those are recognized by the IOC? Like, is Oregon recognized by the
Oregon is one of the first recognized by.
Oh, there.
Yeah.
So
There's been a surprising lack of US centers, and then suddenly there's this flowering along with Oregon.
Had not heard of these before, but it sounds like they can continue providing information.
I'll just make the comment that, we will be 2034, the only university in the world to have hosted and 2 Olympic Games. We feel like this is an important investment for the enduring legacy of those games and how they interacted with our campus. This will be, I would say, step 1 of a much broader Olympic strategy that you will be seeing in the coming year. We have to get going on this right now. I know it's a few years away, but to get things and assets in place, we got to get moving now. And Scott Doman is leading out on that for the university, coordinating all of our efforts.
And as I understand it, to that point, President, I mean, we are trying, I think we've got some arrangements with the Salt Lake Organizing Committee to ensure that we engage our students, whether volunteering, whether working with athletes. You know, we have a medical side, we have a whole lot of engagement from this university with the Olympics as a whole. As I kind of read this and clarify, you can correct me if I'm wrong, this seemed to be studies for exactly what you've talked about, economy or sustainability, you know, kind of the workings of it, not necessarily student engagement, athlete development, mental and physical health of athletes, training of athletes and optimization of their skill sets. I mean, I think we've talked about a lot of the ways that because we are in a special position of being an academic institution with health and with academic and scholarship, that we can affect and impact and study the Olympics in so many ways. And this seems to be kind of, like I say, more the social and the economic and the environmental impacts, rather than some of these other things that I know we've talked about, President, engaging our students and our faculty and the athletes and the sports and the events themselves. So I think this is part of what we can do, but it's not necessarily comprehensive. Am I correct on that?
The IOC, maybe I'll back up a little bit. IOC has certain definitions for these research centers. And it originates from their desire to promote the Olympic movement. So they want scholarship based in universities focused on the Olympics in general. But the Olympics, I think what you're alluding to is such a broad thing. And a lot of the elite athlete engagement happens a little bit outside. They have a separate umbrella they engage the elite because that's a very select group. But this has that Olympic movement kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we're trying to engage on that side. Yeah.
That's how I felt it was, that it was not as specific as really getting into events and the physicality of all of that and the performance of the athletes. Okay, thank you for clarifying that. So any other questions or thoughts? Is there a motion then to approve the creation of the Olympic Center for Societal Impact was presented today?
So moved.
We have a motion from Kurt, a second.
I'll second.
Thank you, Jamie. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you so much.
Chair, could I just add a
Yes.
note that I wanted to just remind the board, I think everyone's aware, that we had a change in policy this year from USHE that this recommendation now will go on to UB for approval of centers and institutes.
Okay.
So that was a change, I think, from last year. So that was just a reminder to everybody.
Where did it go from here before?
It stopped here.
Oh, it's not. Oh.
Yes, that's right. There's a change.
All right, we will now turn to item 3.05, the city center sale leaseback, and Blaber, Chief Operating Officer, will present.
Thank you. Well, next time I'm gonna get on the agenda a lot earlier because I'm here to talk about a building. Seems like a letdown after everything that's happened. This is exciting, though. I will say that this is a physical manifestation of the president's 2030 strategic vision for the university. We're excited about a building that we acquired in downtown Salt Lake City. It helps us to grow the university as well as provide a lot of unique opportunities for our students interacting with businesses and other opportunities to cross paths with those whom they might have jobs and internships and other things with in the future. This is the building on the left, or I guess on the right, my right, your left, is the actual building and land that we acquired. We purchased the building and the land, and you can see what the building looks like today. We're pretty excited about this building. It's about 240,000 square feet. The great news is, like I said, it includes not only just the building and the land, but it also includes a nice parking lot that we can potentially develop in the future. We paid about $38 million for this building. And again, we'll talk about the transaction we're proposing today. Just a quick review of the timeline, the events that have happened here leading up to this day. The first thing that we did is we brought this building to the Board of Trustees back in June of 2024. We actually acquired the building in August of 2024. And then very exciting, we actually had our graduate gaming program open in January in the building. Of note, this is a transaction we're going to talk about today with the foundation. We've talked about the foundation in previous meetings. It's probably worth reviewing that at some point in time. The foundation at the time we purchased this building was not set up to handle real estate transactions. If it would have been, the foundation would have acquired the building at that time, and we wouldn't be going through this exercise today. So it's always been the intention that the foundation would acquire the building from the university, and then that we would use space in that building. So today we're at the point in time where we're looking for approval from the trustees about a sale and lease back of this building, and then we will go to USHE if that's approved. So essentially the transaction, boil it down to its simplest form. The university will sell the building to the foundation for the $38 million purchase price. I mentioned that the university bought the building. We used our cash to do that. We did that because we needed to move at the rate of real estate. And again, we weren't set up in the foundation to quite do it at the time. So the university will recoup its $38 million from the foundation, and the university will then commit to what we call a credit tenant lease, where we will be responsible for leasing the building. The foundation will own and operate the building. They'll lease out the building. There are current tenants in the building, including gaming companies and others that make for a nice fit with some of the things we're thinking about down there. By doing this and do this type of transaction, it enables the university to have a presence in downtown Salt Lake. It's on 4th South and State Street on a TRAX line, about 7 minutes from the university. So back and forth is very convenient and easy. It also allows the university to have space in a building downtown at a sub-market rate. So call it a 25% discount from rate. This aligns nicely with not only the president asking us to do these types of things, but the system asking us to consolidate our holdings and to lease or own buildings on our own. So again, I think we've talked about this several times, but wanted to make sure trustees understood this. We're looking for approval for the foundation to purchase the building from the university, return our cash, and then we would commit to leasing that building. Once the building is stabilized, that means having a mix of commercial tenants as well as the university there. We anticipate the university's cost of that building on an annual basis would be about $2 million a year. So any questions on that?
Questions?
Yeah, I just want to make sure the board recalls that the strategic direction in our plan was that, we wanted to make sure that the university was an economic driver in the community. And this is, I think, one of those examples that we'll be able to point to. So we've got a graduate games program down there. We have been able to surround them with team development companies. The fluid interaction between our program and those companies is really quite remarkable. It changes the student experience. It changes what we're able to do and say and engage in industry as a university. We've been having conversations with other gaming companies that are interested now in this area. And so the hope is that the university is seen as an economic engine driving, growth in Salt Lake City because of this type of transaction.
And that growth and those opportunities for our students too, with have such close interaction, and to be able to do it, we're landlocked, we know that, and to have this opportunity just right down the street on the TRAX line with a really close connection to main campus, but using that space to be able to expand our offerings is terrific. So thank you for your vision.
Yeah, I think anytime you can have close proximity between the education that students are receiving and then the actual occupation and jobs and work that they're going to go into, it just makes for an exceptional learning experience, and then the transition from being a student to out in the workforce is much more fluid, and the businesses, the gaming companies are getting exactly what they need because.
Anything else? Well, again, thank you for the work that I know has gone on. We've been having conversations with the trustees throughout, last couple of months about this. So I appreciate the time the administration is taking to make sure everyone has had their questions answered as we've led into this meeting. So is there a motion to approve the city center sale leaseback as presented today?
So moved.
Thank you, Kurt. Is there a second? Karen? We have a motion and a second for approval. Any debate or discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Any opposed? Thank you. The motion passes. Appreciate it. Thank you, Jeff. Well, lots of exciting things going on with our student athletes. We have a lot of work that got done today, and I appreciate all of the work that's happened in advance in preparation for this meeting. But our student athletes have been hard at work. I have to say that the ski team won its 18th national championship. Yeah, I know. So they're well on their way to, I think, a record here. But and they got moved from Montana to be held here on their home courts. But that gives you 6 of the last 7 NCAA titles, all of them under head coach Frederick Landstedt, who was just named Coach of the Year at the Governor's State of Sport event last week. So we congratulate them. And the gymnastics team, of course, our Red Rocks, won their 2nd consecutive Big 12 conference championship last month. And if you look back and remember Pac-12, they've had 7 consecutive conference championships. So we congratulate them. The team advanced to the regional final, and they have 10 All-America honors for the season, with 3 of their athletes going on to compete in the NCAA championships. So lots of exciting things from our student athletes, who also, I think the ski team, I just saw, not only won the championship, but it was our highest graduation rate.
The men's team has the highest GPA.
GPA, that's what it was.
Yeah, and they're typical majors.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty impressive.
So we love that there are student athletes, but we do have a very high graduation rate with all of our student athletes. But do we know what that is? Off the top?
I don't know off the top of my head.
94%.
Mark Harmon. Yeah.
Oh,
94%.
94% of our student athletes graduate. Like that was like, yeah. Thank you, Mark, for leaving out of that. I appreciate that you always call them student athletes first, but because of that. So upcoming events for the board, honorary degree recipients dinner will be on Wednesday, April 29th, right here at the Alumni House. And that leads us into graduation. I can't believe it. And it's that time of year again. It's a wonderful time to celebrate all of our students and the work the faculty has done with them. So we look forward to seeing you at that. And I appreciate also the effort of our board of our trustees to invest their time in attending the Association of Governing Boards Conference in Denver last month. It's a really great opportunity to gather with peer institutions and the trustees there and learn best governance practices, talk about pressing issues in national terms in higher education. So I appreciate the time that you took to bolster our understanding, bring that back. Fort, I know you attended.
Yeah, I was gonna turn the time over to Karen. Amazing. It was a good conference. Sessions included, we had one session from the attorney who's leading the case for Harvard and the US government on the freezing of federal funding. So getting insight on that was incredibly informative. There were sessions on the adoption of AI at universities, along with responsible use of AI. There were sessions on the changing landscape of athletics and many more. The highlights for me was we had dinner with the regents of the University of Colorado, who we'd spent time with, a year and a half ago. So it's good to catch up with them, and then also having new trustees, Karen, and then also Amy, who will be replacing Jamie this summer, and getting to know them. I thought that was valuable.
Thank you. I know it's an additional effort and responsibility to do, but to come back with that background I think it was always helpful to bring that. So thank you for taking the time. It's a sad time right now. This is Alex Rose, our ASU president, this last meeting here as our trustee. And just want to thank you for your engagement. You've been so responsive and you've come to everything and questioned and wanted to probe and really wanted to understand so that you could get valuable input. And of course, they bring the students' perspective, their needs. I know you've listened very carefully to your constituents and the hard work you've done in that leadership position, but it's always helpful to remember it's all about the students. And so appreciate all of the work that you've done. I want to acknowledge your leadership team, Addie Dahl and Aja Morse, for their service as your vice presidents as well. So thank you to them. I will turn the time to Jamie Sorensen. I will ask him if he will read a resolution to you.
Hello. A resolution of appreciation for Alexander Alex Rose. Whereas Alex Rose served during the 2025-26 academic year as president of the Associated Students of the University of Utah, ASUU, and as a member of the University of Utah Board of Trustees, representing the interests and perspectives of students. Whereas in fulfillment of the responsibilities of ASUU president, Alex provided consistent leadership to the student government, chaired the ASUU executive cabinet, and served in key governance roles, including membership to the Academic Senate Executive Committee, co-chairing the General Student Fee Advisory Committee, and serving as a voting member of the Committee on Student Affairs. Whereas Alex led a student-driven philanthropic initiative that raised more than $12,000 in support of the Huntsman Mental Health Foundation, reestablishing a meaningful tradition of collective service and demonstrating the capacity of students to advance causes aligned with university's values. Whereas through active participation on the Board of Trustees, Honors Committee, and Campus Master Plan Committee, Alex contributed student-informed insight to discussions shaping the university's highest honor and physical future. Whereas Alex consistently and effectively elevated student perspectives in complex campus-wide conversations, including updates to the Campus Master Plan and efforts to strengthen the university's long-term financial stability, institutional viability, and strategic direction. Whereas Alex strengthened ASUU's external engagement by building relationships with student governments across the state of Utah and within the Big 12 Conference, creating opportunities for collaboration, shared learning, and coordinated advocacy. Whereas through a collaborative and principled leadership style, Alex fostered productive relationships with trustees, administrators, staff, and fellow students, advancing shared governance and strengthening the university's community. Whereas Alex's presidency was characterized by respect, kindness, and integrity, cultivating the culture within ASUU that empowered student leaders and affirmed the importance of student voice in university decision-making. Therefore, be it resolved that the University of Utah Board of Trustees expresses its sincere appreciation to Alex Rose for his dedicated service, effective leadership, and steadfast representation of the student body, and recognizes the lasting contribution of his presidency to the university. The board extends its gratitude and best wishes for continued success in his future academic, professional, and civic endeavors. And with that, I will just say that my experience with Alex has been wonderful. We've been on these committees together, and as Katie highlighted, it's not easy to be a student in these rooms and to share your opinions. And Alex didn't only do it well, but he did it exceptionally well. And we are all going to miss him and the time we've had with him. But when he comes back and seeks help and recommendations, they're going to be with the highest degree of honor for him. So thank you, Alex.
Thanks, Jamie.
And I definitely want to hear from you, but I'm wondering if Lori would like to make any further statement.
Yes, well, I think it was encapsulated very well. Alex, you have led, I heard that word integrity, and with a willingness to ask questions for understanding and for the intention of engaging others. And so we are very excited that you will still be with us for a short time before you graduate, but we are really excited to see where you go and what you do. You will, I have no doubt, you will contribute to whatever communities you are a part of this way. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Alex and I talked as we were going particularly through our discussion and the trustee vote over our athletics transaction, that he will have been here during one of the most historic times in the history of the University of Utah. And what I want you to know is during that whole thing, the strength of his voice in terms of how you protect this the student experience and how you enhance the student experience was heard by all of us. But I think what many of you didn't observe, but I did gratefully to his leadership, were the many conversations where he came to me and said, hey, we have got to resolve some issues in the student body because they happen every year. And, you know, we as a partnership can decide how to handle those. And Alex was always unbelievably professional. He came with solutions. He was thoughtful. And as Lori mentioned, he listened. And we were able to solve a lot of problems that you did not see this year due to his incredible leadership. And Alex, I'm forever grateful and just really appreciative to you.
Appreciate that. Yeah, crazy this time has finally come to a close, but I just wanted to share a couple of thoughts. I want to say thank you to the board and to our administrators for their constant support with ASU and with myself and my development and growth and leadership. I want to say thank you to our advisors for Karen and Chris and Annalisa for all your guys' help and helping me. It's a big learning curve in this role, and so they definitely helped me make it a more efficient process to learn. And I want to say thank you to Richard and the faculty. I feel like this year ASU has had a really strong bond with our faculty, and so I want to give great thanks to you and the faculty as well as the staff and Ali and all you guys have done to help us as well. And to the students, just for believing in us and our presidency to help represent them. I just want to give a little bit of context why this has been a really meaningful experience for me. For those who don't know, I grew up in Mesa, Arizona. I grew up in a family of Utah alumni and like big Utah super fans. So I was like the only Utah fan in my area. They're all like these BYU, ASU, U of A fans. But I wore like my Utah shirt to school, my Utah hat. I wore it with pride. And we would come up here a couple of times a year to walk around campus, to go to sporting events. And I always knew I wanted to come to the University of Utah since I was a young kid. And so really it's just been a big dream of mine to be here. And I think what I didn't comprehend was how much the University of Utah would give back to me. And being here, this has been such an incredible experience and a privilege to give back to the university in this role. I just want to say thank you to the trustees and Jamie kind of mentioned this, but it is a little bit difficult to be in a room of such successful and professional people. And so just your humility and open-mindedness to hear what the students are thinking about and my insights on stuff was really, it just helped me a ton throughout that process and to have that constant support. I know Erica is going to do a great job and I'll introduce her here during my report, but and you guys are in great hands. I know that she'll help continue lead for the student perspective and insights, especially with this board. So overall, I just want to say thank you to this group and for having this opportunity.
Should we do a photo, Alex? If we could have the trustees who are present to this end, we'll do a very quick photo.
Rob, do you mind just going back to the university? Yeah. That first slide.
Certainly not that one.
There's a way you can get cut off. You needed commendation.
Andrew, and me.
The resolution.
Square up around our.
Yeah. Get uncomfortably close.
You don't have questions.
Oh, yeah, you get this.
Oh, thank you.
You're putting it away. This is really over squared up and after you.
This is why my family photos never turn out.
Use them this way. Right. Right, I just screwed up your shirt.
That's Eric.
Well, now, thank you. We'll now transition to reports. I'll turn it over to the president and vice president.
I have just two quick items. First, today we will be opening the Center for Medical Innovation, the James LaVoy Sorensen Center for Medical Innovation. Long time coming. It is an incredibly exciting space that allows our healthcare system, doctors, students, engineering students, everyone that wants to be involved in medical innovation, try to invent. Every year coming out of our bench to bedside program, we have one or two funded companies. Last night we had our bench to bedside program. It was absolutely electric to see the innovations that had come from a set of student teams. And so I'd encourage you all to come to that opening. We will have a guest, a very special guest cutting the ribbon today. I'm not going to tell you who, but you're going to miss out if you don't show up. And then just a thanks in advance to all of you for spending time with our commencement ceremonies. It's this is why we do this. It is exhilarating. It is fun. You will shake a lot of hands, those of you that haven't done it before, and I, suggest you bring some hand sanitizer. Not because everybody's hands are dirty. It's just a lot of hands. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I will leave the majority of what I want to share with in my report, but I want to highlight a couple of items. One, I want to highlight a really great service that's provided by Dr. Roy McDonald's team out of Student Affairs for our students. It's our Financial Wellness Center, which supports tax season. And we have a service, it's called the Financial Wellness Center Volunteer Income Tax Assistance via Clinic, which is a national organization. And we have a wonderful group of professionals that work also with students, giving our accounting students great opportunity to learn tax preparation. And this year they served approximately 773 individuals thus far, still underway. And over 266 tax appointments have been completed. That's appointments versus completed. And they've gotten a sponsorship from SoFi Financial Literacy. SoFi Bank. So this is part of an effort that we continue to try to expand to support the financial literacy of our students, which really does actually help with student completion and making sure that our students are doing the best they can to plan their finances and understand financial planning and of course tax completion. So I just wanted to give that shout out to Lori McDonald's team. And then I wanted to follow up on Jeff Labrum's presentation and just mention that it's the Division of Games, the graduate degree program that is in the city center downtown. We celebrated their grand opening there earlier this year. This is the games program at the graduate level is #2 program in worldwide, and the undergraduate program is the #1 public worldwide. And this is for many years in a row, and a sincerely accomplished faculty and leader, and we're very excited about what they do, including the examples given by Trustee Doman about working in partnership with industry. And this is what these students do. They develop games, and they are all aspirational game developers and game writers and game authors. So very excited to have them in that space. And that's only phase 1, 23,000 square feet space, and phase 2 is underway and coming soon. So I want to thank our partners in real estate for creating that space for them, because this program, in addition to being highly ranked, is one of our largest. There are about a total of, all told, undergrad and grad, nearly 1,600 students in this program. It's a very large program, very successful, very attractive, and very connected to the initiatives that we talked about around Olympics. For those that did not know, esports is a coming Olympics event coming in 2027. It will occur between spring and summer and winter Olympics, the first one being in Saudi Arabia, and hopefully the first one in the US coming here or nearby cities. So we're very excited to be active participants in that area of sports as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Carter, anything going on?
Well, just a few follow-ups. Just to elaborate on the president's highlight of the bench to bedside competition last night, it was exciting to see that at the Center of Medical Innovation. It's going to be a great ribbon cutting today. We had 50 teams, 180 students, 10 universities represented, including 5 universities from Utah. So that this program, which was started by our very own Troy D'Ambrosio 16 years ago, has now blossomed into something very, very special. The CMI is going to be a great place to host that. Speaking of students in our medical school, I just wanted to highlight that we've accepted our first 10 students to the Southern Utah Regional Medical Campus. And in part, as associated with that, Michelle Hoffman, MD, MPH, has now been appointed as our Senior Associate Dean of Rural, Underserved, and Regional Medical Education. And Reed Nelson is also now appointed as Associate Dean for the Southern Utah Regional Medical Campus. So we're starting to flesh out the supporting structure for our medical school and its regional campuses. This year, the medical school completed its match. We had a 98% match rate, which was higher than the national average of 93% in the nation. So again, quite excited about that. A couple of other just little highlights. One of the things I just wanted to mention is Jim Sipthorpe in our Division of Parks, Recreation, and Tourism was named a distinguished researcher by the Academy of Leisure Sciences for his leadership and research on youth development, outdoor recreation programs, and experiential education. Dr. Provost Montoya and I have talked about the interface between, this world and health sciences and how being out in nature is so important. So we're glad that we have faculty that are being recognized for their leadership in this domain. I think it's part of what we do to amplify place here at the University of Utah. And then a final shout out to Christian Sherwood in our hospital system, led by Dan Lundergan and team. Christian has been now recognized as one of Reagan's top women in HR, the class of 2026, and one of Becker's Healthcare's top CHROs and chief people officers to know. So we're really proud of Christian's work to lead the workforce in the hospital and health systems. Pause there and turn you over to my written report for the rest.
Thank you so much. I appreciate all of your leadership there. Alex,
Yes.
the floor is yours.
Thank you.
Report on behalf of the ASU.
So I just want to talk about two events that we have coming up tomorrow with our State of the ASU event. It's from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Union Patio. It's where we share our impact report from this year and just hand out free food to students to kind of give back to our student body. And a week from tomorrow, we have our ASU inauguration, it's our official transition period. So looking forward to that. I did want to highlight just this letter from Kaylee and their team for the sustainability initiatives. They've our ASU leaders in sustainability worked really hard this year on a lot of the initiatives and just amplifying their concerns and student voice. They've worked with administration and as well as local representatives to really work on the kind of crisis that we're facing here in Utah and how to impact sustainability. So I just want to highlight them and encourage our trustees and administrations to hear out their thoughts and some of the concerns that they have. And then lastly, I'd like to invite Erica Stringham to come up and she'll introduce herself a little bit and that'll be in our report. So
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Erica Stringham, and I'll be serving as the next student body president next year after Alex, along with my VPs Jake Holberg and Naya West. A little bit about me is I'm double majoring in strategic communications and psychology, while also being the events director with Women Investing through the Business School, and I'm currently the events chair through ASU. I have worked with ASU the past 3.5 years, along with the Rose administration and the Boyd administration. The Stringham administration, one of our main initiatives is to help ease the burden students face every day here on campus. We believe overall quality of life goes way beyond the classroom, and we believe we want to help them with their long-term student success. I wrote out on a template some more in-depth about our goals and our initiatives and our vision for next year. I had Annalisa and Carol be sending out a copy of that digital version so you guys can kind of read through to get a better idea of what we're trying to do and how we can work together to strengthen the goals for the university. Overall, I'm really excited to be working with everyone. The template also has a little bit about me and along with my VPs as well. But most importantly, we're going to lead by listening and be an advocate for students and be the leadership that listens. That's been our slogan. We believe meaningful change happens when we listen to students here on campus. And I'm really looking forward to working with all of you and serving the student body into this next year. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Academic Senate report. President Richard Price of his bill. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair Oakles. Good morning, trustees. You guys are a tough act to follow, Alex and Erica. Alex, I just want to say props to you for completing your term. I know how hard you worked. You'll be missed as you go on to bigger and brighter things. And Erica, we really look forward to working with you in the Senate. The Academic Senate met on Zoom on April 6, 2026, with a total attendance of near 130 participants, including ex officios, members of the public, and the press. It voted unanimously to approve a consent calendar consisting of new faculty appointments and program changes to the renamed Bachelor of Interdisciplinary Studies program, whose credit requirements were eased to reflect its already rigorous nature. Vice President of Government Relations Jason Perry reviewed the 2026 state legislative session, which, despite a record number of bills, saw relatively good news for higher education, with no budget cuts for the first time in a while, modest cost of living increases for faculty and staff, and major investments in medical and computing research. We're grateful to Jason, his staff, and to President Randall also for their unflagging efforts on Capitol Hill to advocate for the university as an engine of intellectual production. It's vital to the continued growth of the state. In keeping with that theme, the Senate approved 3 new research centers with Utah-specific visions that promise to propel that growth even further. I think I'm going to omit that part of my report because it's been most of what we've talked about this morning. The Olympics Research Center for Societal Impact, the Institute for Critical and Strategic Minerals, and the Center for Civic Discourse and Debate. What I do want to stress is that what you all saw here was the strongest version of those presentations, because part of the logic of the shared governance process is they go through all these different chains of review and approval, where in our case, faculty suggest ways that they can improve their governance structure or their funding. And that's sort of how governance works, that we pool our expertise to produce the best possible versions of each initiative. The centerpiece achievement of the Senate cycle, since we talked about the Civic Discourse and Debate Center having to do with conflict resolution, was sort of an object lesson in conflict resolution. It was our final vote on the comprehensive reform of Policy 6100, the core policy governing all teaching at the university. And you heard Trustee Shumway eloquently summarize that. Universities drive social and technological change, but by design are themselves slow to change. Change unsettles lives and livelihoods and ways of doing things. How do you move something so large and complex as a university forward? The answer I'll suggest is slowly, because as a friend of mine likes to say, slow is smooth and smooth is fast. I think they quote that on the pit. Through the leadership of the Vice Provost Chase Haygood and Provost Montoya, what began as an impasse between administration and faculty, primarily over enrollment minimums, course sections, became instead a demonstration of the power of shared governance to build consensus. The culmination of many months of consultation and collaboration in town halls and surveys and committees and multiple Senate reviews, in which faculty concerns about disciplinary difference were heard and incorporated, the administration took the risk of trusting departments to manage their own courses rather than have cancellations imposed on them from above. And that trust was rewarded by a unanimous vote in the Senate. I don't know whether that was mentioned. This policy passed unanimously. I was shocked when that happened. But it was the process, it was the culmination of many months of building support for it, with faculty agreeing to make life harder for themselves by embracing shorter grading periods, less scheduling flexibility, because they recognized that it was in the best interest of students. That was the paramount concern. This is how we balance the problem of resource allocation with the need to preserve educational integrity, and how we ensure the effectiveness of new policy by making faculty and students partners in its construction so that it becomes a mutually binding contract that we all willingly enter into. Policy 6100 will benefit thousands of future students long after we're gone. But it alone will not be the Senate's signature victory of the academic year. It will be the process that got us there, which I think will be a foundation of trust on which we hope to build. Thanks for your attention.
We appreciate the work that's being done by the provost, by the Senate, by your leadership, Alex, and the students. I love this conversation about shared governance and modeling how exactly what you're saying, how we interact and how we handle and wrestle with difficult issues for the benefit of all. So I appreciate that work and hope that we can continue it. I like to say that this is the foundation and a great deal of trust has been built here.
I hope so. And at the next board meeting, I think I'll be introducing formally my successor, Brent Mell. I'm kind of doing it right now. The point being that we're trying to put in place continuity of leadership in academic senate to make sure that the university has a partner with faculty to keep that progress moving forward. We appreciate the chance to do that work. We want to.
We appreciate your leadership and your partnership. Thank you. Now we will have staff council report with Ally Minsdorf, the president. Report.
Thank you so much, board, for having us today. University Staff Council, we are working on what staff are wanting. So something that has been made apparent to us is that hybrid staff who work 2 or fewer days a week on campus, some of them maybe just come to campus once a month, are still having to pay a full price for the A permit. So we are looking at what those routes we could do for advocacy work to support them. If it's working with our policyholders to do a punch card or to have a different way that they could have a discounted permit since they are on campus less frequently. So that's something that we have been working on. We're also encouraging staff to really emphasize carpooling and our public transit. The UTA pass is a wonderful thing. I take bus and I've quite loved it. So there's a lot of great things that we're trying to collaborate with commuter services with. We've also been working with our commuter services liaison, Solomon, to bring more information. Something that Chris Nelson said in the university management team meeting was that our key role here is to share information and make sure that information is getting out to the staff and to the faculty, to the community of the U. So in our newsletter, we will be adding a parking fact of the day. And so every month we'll have a different fact about parking, like you can purchase a temporary A or U permit. So if you do not have a parking pass but don't want to pay for the hay lot, you can just do a temporary A or U. It's a lot cheaper. A lot of students don't actually know about it either. So it's something that we really want to emphasize so that our staff are aware of all their abilities when it comes to parking. We are also looking at, staff have made it apparent to us that there was an extended parental leave granted in this legislative cycle. And so we're looking into research on what that would be financially impacting the university if we were to advocate for extending the paid parental leave from 6 weeks to 9 weeks. There's a lot of staff that have really emphasized this. We've received a lot of emails about it. So we are looking at, with the policyholders again, with our lovely partners in HR, to see what that could look like. Because it is more cost effective to keep staff rather than have to hire new staff. So we want to make sure that we are doing whatever we can to be supportive of our staff and faculty on campus, especially those who are planning to have a family, whether that's through fostering, adoption, or through having a child. We've also been supporting campus. We did a wonderful staff appreciation collaboration with our amazing partners in HR. A big applause to Mandy. So Staff Council is going to be taking over the Hooked on Books. We are reimagining the program. So it'll become a book swap with our swag swap. In order to be more sustainable on campus, we want to make sure that we're not throwing away swag, we're not getting rid of things that are outdated, that we're actually just giving it out to the staff and to the students and faculty. We've also been working with the Alumni Association. They're going to be doing a swag swap during graduation. So it's very exciting for us to be able to be sustainable that way. And we want to also do that with the books that we find on campus in order to provide that. We're also been working with our Center for Cultural and Community Engagement. We just completed Pride Week as well as Women's Week, MLK Week. Staff Council had representation on all of those planning committees. And then we were also involved in Day of Kindness. So we were able to meet with over 4,000 staff members during Day of Kindness, provide snacks, coffee, talk to them about different initiatives, including our scholarships and professional development. And with Day of Kindness, we gave out a very cute little sticker. It says kindness, everyone can chip in. It was on our chip clips. So yeah, we love a good pun here. And then with Giving Day, we are very excited that we were able to exceed our goal. So we raised over $6,000 for the One You Care Staff and Faculty Emergency Fund. So this fund is for any kind of emergency funding that staff or faculty need. They can apply for that through this grant. But we're very excited for that and really appreciate everyone's support in sharing that information and getting those QR codes out on Giving Day. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Ally. And now the Alumni Association, come over to Trustee Sorensen to read.
Perfect. We have had an exciting spring with you alumni. They had a baseball spring training event in Phoenix. They've celebrated Women's Week with an event supporting alumni-owned businesses in Salt Lake City. We had a great report from Jason Perry on the legislative session. We had a number of alumni join Chris Bosman and the Youth Theater faculty in London for a trip that was a U alumni sponsored trip. So that was great. Grad week, grad season's upon us, and we know through U alumni that connecting students who are graduating to alumni right away is vital. So we'll have a grad finale event at Block U this April, and are offering free photos in regalia for all graduates in front of the Block U. And so look for that event. And then lastly, must registration for football is underway. This year it's a month-long lottery process, and so that will run from April 7th to May 15th. This allows first-year students to enter the lottery after the deposit deadline on May 1st, and so we're excited about that. Existing students have been able to be as they attend more sporting events, and that's all events: softball, basketball, tennis, baseball. The more events you've gone to, the more you've earned points, and those points allow you to have extra entries into the lottery system. So that's increased student participation and student representation at these different events, and we thought that's been real positive. So if you know any student, tell them to enter that lottery from football tickets. So that's what we have. Thank you.
Thank you. I love the reminder that a month started with the Alumni Association is managed by it. So I love that connection between building alumni right there in our stand problem. So thank you. We are fortunate today to have a university focus on the value of higher education, which I know has been a point of discussion across the country. And luckily we have Natalie Gochner, Special Advisor to the President, Director of the Kempsey Gardner Policy Institute, and Associate Dean of the Dave Deckle School of Business to present on their findings and thoughts on that. Welcome, Natalie.
Yeah, good morning. Happy to be here. So I always love it when I'm with all my colleagues from the University of Utah. So this is really a good day. And I get kind of put an exclamation point on a good day, because I'm going to share data with you that really walks through the value of our mission. And I mean that in the threefold sense of, protecting human health and serving an educational and a research function that makes our community better. So what we did at the Gardner Institute, and just so you know, UG actually pays us to do this. So that's kind of a fun thing that they actually buy our research and care about us sharing this broadly. But I'm going to share with you about 13 measures of the benefits of higher education, and just kind of think through this about our mission and how we contribute to it. And the first one is the percent of our adult population with a post-secondary degree, certification, or certificate. And this is data that's put out by Lumina. And when we do this, we have the second most well-trained, well-educated workforce in the country. That's a stunning statistic. And I want you to think about it in terms of both being a well-trained workforce that gets you a job, but also a well-educated workforce that contributes to civil society. And that's the combination of all these degrees and whatnot. Now, President, you often ask me about how we have some concerns about our graduation rates and how does that reconcile with this. So we've been thinking about that. One thing to know is that Utah's had 34 of 36 years of net in-migration. More people coming to the state than leaving. We know they come here for work, and we know they're bringing that education with them. So we think that helps us. We also, in the certificate world and the post-secondary certification, Utah's really high there. we're about 12% of our adult population has a high value certificate. The national average is 7%. That's a lot of our tech colleges and whatnot, but they're making a huge contribution here. And I guess I'd also just say that, this is over the full lifespan rather than just a cohort of graduates. This is all adults, adult population. The most common question I'm asked as the leader of the Kim C. Gardner Policy Institute is, how do you explain Utah's economic success? And I think this is the number one explanation, that we have a workforce that's healthy and a workforce that's well educated, and it contributes to everything. Okay, we also have average tuition fees that are I think we rank 9th among states. So real high value education, accessible to the population, and they're getting these degrees that help improve their lives and improve our society. Then we go look at several measures of achievement by educational level. So on the bottom of all these graphs I'm showing you will be less than high school, then a high school diploma, some college, a bachelor's degree, and then a graduate degree. This first one is earnings by education level, and you can see the average in our state's about 54,000. If you have a graduate degree, you're in the 95,000, and a college degree, 65,000, and then you can see how that plays out. So we definitely see that education is paying a dividend in your earnings. You also look at the unemployment rate. Here you're seeing the opposite effect. The more educated you are, the lower the number. But in our state, this is, at 2024, these are always changing numbers, but this is the most recent data for this. A 2.7% unemployment overall, but if you have a bachelor's degree, you're at 2% unemployment. And then these really stunning numbers of these high unemployments for people who have some high school or just a high school degree. Here's the poverty rate. Similar kind of thing. Look at this. The poverty rate in Utah is 8.3%, but if you have a bachelor's degree, it's 3.9%. So again, education's paying off. You are gainfully employed. You're not actively searching for work. And then you can see these really troubling double-digit numbers for the less well-educated in our state. I want to take a pause on this one because it's kind of a complicated graph, but it's showing you wages for full-time, full-year male workers. And you might be thinking, why don't you have women in there? But if we're going back to the 70s and there weren't enough women in the workforce to get statistically significant data, at this kind of breakdown, we're looking again at these different degree levels. So the red is the post-bachelor's degree, the yellow is the bachelor's degree, and then you can get some college, high school, and less than high school. What's so interesting to me about this data is if you look early in the time frame, you notice how everybody's kind of clumped together. The more educated you are, the more your earnings, but you're kind of clumped together and we're just kind of moving sideways. In, I believe it was 1982, Time Magazine declared the personal computer the machine of the year or the person of the year. And so a lot of people think of that as the start of the information age. And you can see what happens to the data. We call it bounty and spread. If you're well educated, you're getting a bounty and there's a spread occurring between your colleagues that don't have that education. We see this nationally. We see this in Utah. And I can also do it for women. I just can't go far back. We see it also for women. But this is, I think, one of the most telling statistics. A lot of things here, right? Education pays, but it also shows the division occurring in our society. And I think this is underlying a lot of the unrest that we're seeing right now in our state, in our nation, and even in the world, that this economy is not working for everybody. If you're educated, it's working for you. Okay, we also have in this state the largest share of our households that are middle class. And I think that's a great secret to a prosperous society, is that everybody's getting a benefit from the economy. Highest share middle class of any state. We also see that in something called the Gini coefficient, or measure of income inequality or income equality. I'm going to call it income equality. And in the Gini coefficient, the lower the number, the more equal the distribution of income. If the Gini coefficient is 0, you have perfect equality. So a low number here means more income equality. And we have the lowest Gini coefficient of any state, meaning we have the most equal distribution of income of any state. That's a pretty special place to be.
Natalie, didn't you tell me once that that model was built by a Utah professor?
Oh, that's the Hoffman Index. I'm gonna show that in just a minute, Randy. Gini coefficient's got some other kind of international feel to it. You're saying, why is this?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think a lot of things. One is we have a well-educated workforce. So this bounty gets spread to a lot of households. We also have what I'm going to show you in a minute, what Randy's highlighting. We have a very diverse economy. So all these industries are present. Healthcare, defense, aerospace, energy, agriculture, tech, warehousing and distribution, we have it all here. We're a regional center, as makes up a very well-rounded economy, which means there's a lot of opportunity. So these households are doing well and have income equality. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
It gives us more social cohesion, is what the literature would tell you. Okay, Innovation Index. This is put out by the Indiana Business Research Center, but they look at employment and dynamism and productivity, and they're ranking who are the most innovative states in the country. And the higher the index, the more innovative they measure you. And they put Utah as the #1 state for innovation. So that's again saying something about our well-educated workforce. It's saying something about our tech sector and our entrepreneurial education and our entrepreneurial spirit and grit here. So what's not to love, right? And then to Randy's point, this, Randy, is the Hoffman Index or the Economic Diversity Index. This is broadly used nationwide as a measure of economic diversity, and it came out of the David Eccles School of Business, a guy named Frank Hoffman. And it basically says, how similar is the structure of the Utah economy to that of the nation? And if we're similar to the nation, that says we're diverse because the US economy is the largest economy in the world. And again, we're not the top here, but we're in the top 10, and we measure this every year, and we go from first to 9, it just depends on the year. But this is, again, saying we have a lot of eggs in our basket. So think of COVID and how it hurt the tourism sector. That egg broke in our basket, but we had other things. Think of right now, we're seeing a lot of stress in the tech sector. It's got some challenges, but we've got mining and energy and all these other things. So Utah's a really diverse economy, and it makes us more stable over time. Public assistance. So this would be housing assistance, food assistance, Medicaid. The more educated you are, the less you rely on public assistance. So it's really good for society to have a well-educated populace. And then this is going to our IVAS data from the Utah Department of Health, but we're basically showing the share of adults who report excellent, very good, or good general health by education level. The more educated you are, the more healthy you report yourself to be. So that's, again, I mentioned a healthy workforce and a well-educated workforce. I told you I was going to do 13 indicators. This is the last one, and this is in celebration of you, Randy, because we always have to have some Cicero data in a slide deck. This is the Cicero higher ed data on life quality in Utah, where they basically ask, how happy are you? How healthy are you? And how confident are you in future career success? And they did it by whether you've completed your degree or not completed. And you can see if you've completed your degree, you have a better outlook for yourself. So those are the 13 measures. I will just conclude, happy to take any questions, but I do think that Utah is a very special place, economically, demographically, socially, culturally. We see it in all the measures, and how privileged I feel to work at the Gardner Institute and be a part of telling that story. Any questions?
Thank you for that. That's so fascinating. And
Yeah, good
it seems
stuff.
like we just are top on everything.
No,
That's pretty good.
Yeah, and I often use that term that we don't want to be snicking our own tunes.
Yeah.
We do have what we call the troubling 7, and we definitely have challenges. And I would put among them Great Salt Lake and housing, and air quality, and mental health. We've got plenty, but we have an ability to go after those problems in ways that other states do.
Anyone have questions? Thought? Natalie?
Where do you store this information? Where does this reside?
Yeah, so,
It's a brain.
I know, like,
Yeah.
somewhere on the university. Like, I know, like, all universities.
Andrea Brandley is our senior education researcher who was on point to put together this data. Gardner.utah.edu is our website where we put all this. Yeah, it's there and everything. I will also say though, that, so we are located at about 4th East and South Temple in the Thomas S. Swanson Center, which puts us halfway between the university and Capitol Hill, the university and City Hall, the university and the Central Business District. And we are actively embedded and engaged in the community. And so I work with people, everyone in this room, but we work a lot with business leaders and elected officials in the state. And that's by design. And so when you say, where is it stored? It's stored, digitally in our, in the university's resources. And then we're always out sharing it.
And did you say Yushi is the one that?
Yeah.
So does it sit on their site as well? I mean, it is something like every university would want to.
Yeah, this is a great success story. USHE recognizes the importance of this information. They also recognize the value of knowing the economic impact of universities in their communities. And they've also contracted with us to do economic impact analyses of each public institution in the state. And we're about halfway through doing that. But I think this is such a great success story because we're telling, Logan and Utah State University what their economic impact is. It's published in a report from the University of Utah. I think that's kind of a neat thing, right? Not because counting the units, but that we trust each other and know that there's value to having one entity that uses similar assumptions and models and expertise to, in a consistent way, look at each institution. And so we've developed that trust and are doing that. Okay, thanks, everybody.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
So I'll just share that way.
Well, that is.
Yeah, here's where to store.
Sure. We have an information agenda, no action required on it, but it was on your free reads, and I would invite you to look at those. I always find it to be a little interesting to look at also our health sciences and our hospital clinics, and appreciate good work.
Question about that. Sorry.
Yes, please.
I'm just on my. Sorry.
We appreciate it. No, it's good.
Dr. Carter, there was like a delayed medical on Medicaid payments, and it just made me think, has the university or even in Utah have seen a decline in Medicaid payments?
So the big beautiful bill will affect our Medicaid payment for the 5 years. That particular one was prior to the BBB, and it's just a delay in intake of income. But we're anticipating that we'll have around a $350 to $400 million reduction in the next 5 years in overall Medicaid payments to the health system because of the BBB.
And when will that start?
That starts to basically now, this coming.
So you haven't seen the impact?
We haven't seen the impact.
Scary.
Coming, yeah.
Thank you. Anyone? Thank you. It's all I've got. Should we stand ready to adjourn? Our next open meeting is June 9th. Thank you for everyone who participated. So work with trustees. Call for the motion to adjourn. Very, thank you. I just found
I seconded it as well.
We have a motion by
I'll take it.
Alex wants out, so he's seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Seeing none, that's adjourned.
So this is.
Thank you.